Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of What's Next After BDS. And today I have with me Dr. Madhu, a friend of mine whom I met during my observership as a postgraduate trainee in the prestigious Tata Memorial Cancer Institute, Bombay. So, Madhu, after finishing her BDS, has completed her master's in hospital administration. Am I right, Madhu? Yeah.
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
so today we are going to be, discussing about the career aspects and what you can do after your master's in health administration. So over to you, Madhu. Can you give a short intro about yourself?
Sure, yes. So, hello everyone, and thank you, Dr. Vinay, for giving me this opportunity. I think what you're doing is commendable because the options out there are absolutely overwhelming, and you tend to feel lost and like you don't know which path to take. There is conventionally just one traditional path. So what you're doing is absolutely wonderful. So I completed my BDS, and right when I was doing my UG, I knew I don't want to continue in the clinical path. So I started looking for alternate options, and immediately after the UG, I took an entrance and landed in Masters in Hospital Administration from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, TIS, Mumbai. So post that, right now I have almost 3 years of experience working in hospital operations and strategy. So it's going good, uh, and I'm happy with the choice I've made. So
Amazing,
that's
amazing.
how it is.
So, see, usually during our internship, we have a lot of choices. We do not know what to do next and all that. So, most probably, people would go for, I'm going to get into this clinical subject or I'm going to go abroad, and practice dentistry. So, you say that you are very clear that you didn't want to get inside the clinical stuff. So, what about the non-clinical departments, like oral path or oral medicine? Is there a specific reason as to why you wanted to come out of the routine dental line?
Right. So quite a few reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One, as we know, it's cutthroat competition. We see so many people in our own batch, plus there are so many other colleges in our state, in our country.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it is very competitive. And if you're not completely committed to the stream, I think it's pretty tough to survive. If you're half-heartedly in it, thinking, okay, I will try this, if not for this, if not for this. I didn't want to be stuck in such a cycle where you're just settling for something for the sake of settling when you can do something that's genuinely interesting you.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, as you told, some non-clinical streams are an option, but then am I doing it because I don't want to spend time in a clinic, or because I really want to do it? It
Mm-hmm.
would be like this. I don't think I would do it really because I'm genuinely interested. If you are, great, but then for me, I felt that wasn't my calling, and if I was to do an MDS, it would just be for the sake of doing it,
Okay.
when there are so many new options coming up which can suit your preferences, which can suit your interests, which can allow you to use your strengths in a better way. So
Mm-hmm.
that's my where my thought process started, that I should not be doing something for my whole career where I'm just doing it for because there was nothing else.
Correct.
So I wanted to be in healthcare, but then I felt my strengths, my interests are more aligned towards management, and the way hospitals were run, the way the healthcare system is structured was something that interested me.
Okay.
So that's, I think, the most important option when you are doing something, the most important consideration when you're doing something not so conventional after BDS. To do it because you like it, and not to do it because you didn't get an MDS or you don't want to spend time preparing for an MDS.
Mm-hmm. Very true. In fact, that's a very valid point. There are some people who aren't happy or who aren't, satisfied after completing their MDS or sometimes clueless also. But in this case, you're very
Yes.
clear that this is not going to be my pathway. So, and hence you decided to deviate. That's quite a bold
Mm-hmm.
and a sensible choice here. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
let's move on to the masters in hospital administration. So my first question would be is what is the prerequisite to do a master's? Is it just a BDS degree or any basic degree would suffice to get into those masters? And how do you apply to various institutes? Do you have an entrance, something like NEET? I mean, not exactly NEET, on the parallel universe
Mm-hmm.
of MHA.
Yes. Mhm. So, first of all, this course is open to anybody.
Okay.
It's not just people from a clinical background. Although I would have to say 50% of my batchmates were from the dental stream,
Okay.
which shows a lot about how it's a lucrative field for us. But then, yes, I have had engineers, I have had BCom grads, I have had BBA people, even people from English literature, and so many different fields doing the course. So no, it's not restricted just to people from the medical background, although it really helps coming from that, because obviously you are more oriented towards what is taught, and also companies have a preference towards people with from a clinical background. Right now there's immense demand for people with a medical and management background, but we'll come to that later.
Okay.
So primary requisites are dependent on the university or the college you're applying. Okay. Basically, they would want you to finish your 12th and UG with maybe 55 to 60%. It's varies from college to college. And the entrance criteria is quite different. And I would urge people who are aspiring to join these courses to spend a considerable amount of time first knowing where they want to do it. Because right now, there are a huge number of colleges that are offering this course, and it feels really surprising to see how many are giving it. And honestly, not all are good. So first step would be to find out where you would want to do it, and then get into what is the entrance process. Okay. Mostly it would be a test like CAT or MAT, like a general MBA. Okay. Some colleges may also have their own entrance tests. Okay. Now, yes, you do have to prep for this. Obviously, you would prep for a NEET the same way you'd be required to prep for this as well. But then it may not require as much time as a NEET. So okay. This would mostly comprise of general knowledge, logical reasoning, aptitude, okay. Some level of mathematics. Some even have basic English. So yes, this requires prep, and it depends on what test you're giving. Okay. And honestly, I feel 6 months would do. Because I didn't prep for too long, and I would say I'm not even good at math, but then with a little training, I could do it. And if you can handle 10th standard math, 12th standard math, this is not something to be overwhelmed about. Okay. But yes, understanding what the college is offering, what's the entrance criteria, and looking through a few sample papers would help. Mostly it will be what I mentioned. A lot of logical reasoning is basically it. After you clear it, there may also be an interview, a face-to-face interview, where they may assess why you want to do the course, how well you know the healthcare industry, are you really interested in doing this? So things like that largely varies from college to college, but my bottom line would be find a college where you would want to get into more than the college wanting you to get in there. Makes sense. Because it's just like a BDS college. There are so many, but there only a few are good. Correct. Because only a few colleges offer a good internship curriculum where they would themselves get the internships for you. And that's where I met you as well. I met you during my administrative internship at Tata Memorial. So find a place that gives a good syllabus, good internships, and helps you get placements, because it gets very overwhelming if you have to find your job yourself. Go through their placement brochure, find what companies have come there. If possible, connect with alumni from there who are in good positions. Use LinkedIn. That's very important for your preparatory phase. Okay. Connect with more and more people to find their experience. I'm sure right now a lot of BDS people would have their own seniors who have pursued this. So talk to as many people as possible. Honestly, strangers are very welcoming on sites like LinkedIn to help you out understand this field. So okay. That would be very important in your preparatory phase. Okay. Now I have two questions. One is, you told me that it's going to be general logical reasoning and basic mathematics. And is there any specific training institutes or books for these? That's going to be my first question. And if I'm not wrong, since you had mentioned CAT, there's a specific MBA in hospital administration. I think so. It's called hospital administration. Now, how different is that from this, or is just a similar course? MBA in hospital administration is what you're asking, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So, first, to answer, are there training institutes? Yes, there are. Especially, it's concentrated more in the central region and the northern regions, because I feel there BDS students are more forthcoming to pursue such options.
Okay.
There are a lot of online courses as well, but I feel you don't need to spend too much for a full time course like how you would do for an MDS coaching. You
Okay.
can find some decent online ones, and more to do with going through the past papers, and even sitting with your engineering friends, because they would be going through all of this and they can help you out. So I don't think training institute plays a very big role if you just get a basic understanding of what's the syllabus structure.
Okay.
And an online thing would do. A lot of colleges right now actually have aspirant groups where
Mm-hmm.
you can join, and they will basically give you the resources where you can prepare from.
Okay.
If you go through forums like Quora, there are people who give you specific links where you can get all the information, the repository of model sums to practice, model questions that you can go through. I think that if you do, it'll be easier and more economical than joining a full-time course. Since I don't have too much of personal first-hand experience with this, I can't comment if it's absolutely beneficial, but yes, I guess it makes the process easier, but not absolute necessity to do.
Okay.
And honestly, MBA in healthcare administration, MBA in hospital, masters in hospital healthcare administration, hospital administration is just different names.
Okay.
Mostly it's the same thing, it's just offered in different names. I think right now IIM is offering as an MBA. A lot of places offer as an MHA. There is no difference in that.
Okay. That's an answer which I was looking for. Now, anytime, any interview which I post, some of the comment section, what people ask is like, what is the scope and what is the average salary? For which I have only one answer. Every field has its own scope. You have to create it, and you have to be
Correct.
patient enough, and especially in the medical or dental field, you need to get a name for yourself, and then only patients are going to come. And
Mm-hmm.
when they ask about the average salary, again, you cannot have an answer because each one will have a different pathway in the same degree also. So just
Mm-hmm.
be passionate about what you're doing, and I'm sure you'll find your way. So, what would be the nature of the jobs after you finish your MHA? Like, what are you expected to do in a hospital setup or probably
Mm-hmm.
a chain of clinics?
Mhm. So first of all, though the course is Masters in Hospital Administration, your choice is not at all limited to hospitals.
Okay.
In fact, I would say from my own batch, maybe 25% of the people are in hospitals right now.
Okay.
The
Okay.
scope is huge and it's ever growing. And as I mentioned earlier, for us, for people with a clinical background, the scope is even better than others.
Okay. Okay.
So I will go through what are the potential options you have right now.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be limited to this. This is just trends I have been observing.
Okay.
First, of course, is hospital.
Okay.
And here you can play roles in operations, running the daily business of a hospital, ensuring everything is set in place,
Mm-hmm.
everything is purchased, staff are doing their work. It's a huge area by itself. And also you can once you gain a bit of experience, you can also move to hospital strategy, business planning, finance, business analysis. Quality again is a big field where you can get into additional after pursuing certain additional courses like NABH. You
Okay.
can become an assistant for a lot of hospitals, and that again is booming absolutely. Second would be consulting, healthcare consulting.
Okay.
This is also a growing field, and there are many consulting organizations. I think for PwC and EY, there are various organizations. So, what consulting basically is, another company hires you to solve a problem that they are having because of many reasons. They believe you have the expertise, or they don't have the time or resources to put into it. So,
Okay.
in consulting, you would be solving a problem for another company. And
Uh,
healthcare consulting
sorry
right
to
now is
sorry to interrupt here. So, will you be approached as an individual, or you need to be part of another organization, or both possibilities are
Mhm.
there?
Both are possible, but I would say start off first with a reputed organization, because nobody is going to come to a person who has 1 or 2 years experience and believe they will be able to solve their problems.
True.
So building that credibility first is important. So first, absolutely, for the first 10 years, I would say be tied to an organization, a reputed organization.
Okay.
So consulting may not be limited to hospitals. You may be approached by a pharmaceutical company, a healthcare startup, a company that's offering video consultations.
Okay.
So various healthcare companies can tie up with you, so you can build case for them and let them know what are their problems, how can they address it. It may be things like some company saying, I want to start operations in Delhi.
Okay.
Tell me how to start in Delhi. Or it may be someone saying, I am earning only X amount. How can I earn 20% higher than this?
Oh, okay.
So such issues may be solved by a healthcare consultant. And in this, you would keep moving from project to project as it comes, because no project is going to go on forever.
Correct.
Next would be in pharma and medical devices.
Okay.
So in pharma and medical devices, primarily the roles would be in business strategy and in sales.
Okay.
So examples include companies like Pfizer, or medical devices companies like Medtronic. So that is the next option. Then you can also pursue in a career in NGOs. So
Okay.
there are a lot of NGOs that work dedicatedly in healthcare or have healthcare as a division.
Okay.
So this would be more pertaining to public health related aspects, and you may have to spend time in certain rural pockets, outskirts in such a role. But there are people who feel this role really satisfies them, gives them contribution, because in NGOs you may be working with a different set of people and creating a different impact. So NGOs is an option. Government organizations are an option. Like there are people who are working with the Tamil Nadu government. So as you know, the government runs certain hospitals, it runs primary healthcare centers. So such a role is also possible, but maybe that's not a very easy option. That comes eventually after you gain some experience and after you maybe pull a few strings.
Okay.
And then you can also work in healthcare IT. That again is a big area. So healthcare IT is mostly pertaining to collecting requirements for building a certain software for healthcare companies,
Okay.
which may be used by nurses or doctors. Now, since you have played a clinical role and you also have some management exposure, you will be the ideal person to understand what a doctor would ideally need in a software for maybe say entering patient details, monitoring patient vitals, or for discharge summaries. So you may be the person who is collecting requirements for it and working along with an IT team to build it, track if it's going well, get the feedback for it. So that again is an option. Next would be healthcare startups.
Okay.
Startups, I cannot even maybe explain what all startups are available, because there are many. You can think of a Practo, or there are startups which tie up with hospitals for surgeries.
Okay.
So people also work in healthcare startups. There are startups that work exclusively in AI, artificial intelligence related to hospitals and healthcare. So these are all the options. So it's not at all restricted to hospitals. But then a word of caution is your career opportunities, at least in the initial phase, largely depend on where you're doing your course.
Okay.
Definitely, a few institutes have an upper edge and are preferred by recruiters. So I would say, don't be in a hurry to get into the course. Think of your long-term prospects. Think of your career. Get into a good institute, even if it requires some preps and the entrance is a bit tough. It's competitive, because in the long term, it's definitely worth it. A good institute would lead you to these organizations instead of you going and searching for them. And coming to the salary range, it's quite different. Again, as I mentioned, largely depends on where you are from, your college. And so, assuming you have done it from a decent place, for a beginner with no experience after BDS, it could range anywhere between 5 lakhs to 9 or 10 lakhs. And it will only keep growing.
Okay.
5 being the lowest, but another, again, I want to throw a word of caution that this is only if you're doing it from a good place. If
Correct.
not, you may be starting from 3.5, 4, but it's a stable income. Every month you are going to get it, and you can expect it to keep growing.
Wow, that's really a huge, literally, ocean of opportunities available after MHA. And as you mentioned, the institute matters a lot here. Now,
Mm.
with your MHA, can you pursue a career abroad, or it's better to stay in India, or both are equally available?
Right. So this area is a little gray to me because I have not explored it much, but then I have seen people doing it.
Okay.
Maybe not immediately. You may be required to get a few additional certifications or pursue additional internships because this course is tailor-made to the country you are in.
Okay.
So if I am doing it here, uh, there are specific subjects which deal with the country scenarios, like laws pertaining to healthcare in India.
Okay.
What is the economic situation pertaining to healthcare in India? So the course is largely pertaining to the country itself. So the migration may not be that easy, but I don't think it's not possible at all. I have seen people doing it, but I don't have too much information on this.
So your life is good in India with this, right? So it's not
Yes, yes,
mandatory to
yes,
travel abroad.
definitely.
You mentioned
As
about
I
the
mentioned, there are numerous career opportunities, and I feel I'm earning better than what I would have if I had set up a clinic with better work-life balance. I don't have to go for 6:37. Some days, yes, you may have to, but I feel there are fixed timings and a fixed pay, which is satisfactory.
Okay, okay. That's quite a good one. And you already mentioned this, but Madhu had finished her MHA from the prestigious Tata Memorial Institute, Bombay. So, Madhu,
No, it's actually Tata Institute of Social Sciences. I interned at Tata Memorial.
okay, correction. She has answered in a better way. Now, the questions are done from my side. So, for someone who's watching or thinking of a career in MHA, is there something which you would like to add upon where I'm not asked those
Mm,
questions or something like that?
right. Hmm. So, first of all, as I mentioned earlier, don't think of this as something that's I'm not getting anything else, so let me try this.
Okay.
Do it if you're genuinely interested, because this is something that you're going to be associated with for 25, 30 years of your life. That's going to be a career. So it has to be something that interests you. There are other opportunities, so don't think this is some like last ditch effort that you may have to pursue. Do it if you're genuinely interested, and learn browse is what I would say. Connect with a lot of people. There's immense information available online.
Mm.
Understand the course curriculum, understand what are the placement opportunities. If you check social networking sites, you can see where are people who have done this course, only if all that interests you. And if you feel you have certain qualities like leadership and inclination towards management, you feel you're good at communicating, these are qualities that would help you be better in this profession. Spend time in getting in as you would do for any MDS, because this again is a professional course.
Great.
And very importantly, don't be demotivated by people saying, you are a doctor, why are you doing this? You could have done this after any other thing. Because right now, the scope for doctors is ever growing. Very recently, I heard a big HR person say that they prefer only BDS, MBBS people with a management degree for recruiting doctors. So, this is one field I did not even touch upon. You can get into HR recruiting, you can get
Okay.
into medical administration.
Okay.
So you know how it is. There are people who are always going to come and say, you could have opened a clinic, I would have got you so many patients. So don't be discouraged by all this. You be convinced for yourself. It's a great field with good pay, and great potential for growth. You would see so many dentists moving towards this, and just be committed towards it. Have justify to yourself first why you're doing this.
Okay.
And very briefly touch upon other options apart from the masters in hospital administration course. There are also there's an MBA in pharmaceutical management. That is a potential option. There is a masters in public health,
Okay.
which opens doors to more of government organizations or working with the ground level healthcare resources. There is also a lot of scope in pursuing a general MBA, not just specialized in healthcare. I have seen even MBBS people pursuing this and now being in very important positions within hospitals for right from their budgeting to planning what their annual goals will be. So these are a few other related options that also have a lot of scope. I would say I don't at all regret moving, and I don't feel like I have deviated from dentistry. I feel this should be normalized as something that is also a potential option after BDS, and that's it.
Thank you so much, Madhu. That was very clear, crystal clear, and about, as you said, like everyone's life is different, and every course or degree has its own share of opportunities, and it's entirely depends on what you want to do at the end of the day, right? Not merely joining the rat race or something and all that. Thank you so much. And before we conclude, is it okay if I can share your email ID at the end of this video so that
Sure. Yes, I will send it to
they
you.
can reach out to you for some help or something like
Yes,
that?
I will send it to you. Yes.
Thank you so much, and all the best for your future endeavors.
Thank you. Thank you. It was nice chatting with you. Bye.
Bye.